Alright, welcome back. Our next step is to define the site in Dreamweaver. And to do that, first thing we want to do is go back to our portfolio instructions. And if you need a refresher, scroll down to our CSV page, and on the left hand side click on Portfolio. Right here underneath the design modules, I'm going to click on defining the site. This is going to help us set up some things in Dreamweaver. Now the reason why we define the site in Dreamweaver is so that Dreamweaver knows where all of our files are located, and this sets up what's called the local root folder, which essentially is everything that is contained within your site. The other thing that it allows us to do is later on down the road we will put your site over onto the web server, and to do that we have to put in some information which is located down in here. The other cool feature about defining the site in Dreamweaver is that if for any reason you decide to change a file name or need to change a file name, you can do so within the Files panel of Dreamweaver, which will change, say if you change the name of a file and it was a page, a link in your site, it will update all the times that you've used that link in your site so that you don't end up with broken links later on. So the first step we need to do is open up Dreamweaver, and I've got it already open down here in my panel, and if you don't have it open, go ahead and take a minute to open it up, and hopefully you've set up a preference for your workspace. On my workspace I've got my files panel showing up on the left hand side, and I've got some panels minimized on the right hand side, and my properties panel open here. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go up to Site, New Site, and it's going to open up a window for me, and underneath the site name we can name this just about anything, but I'm obviously going to name this Portfolio. And underneath here where it says Local Site Folder, you're going to click on the Browse for Folder icon, and then you're going to navigate to your U drive. Now my site for this tutorial is actually on my desktop, so I'm going to select my desktop, and then I'm going to select, you just want to select that Portfolio folder. So when you have that Portfolio folder selected, just double click it or click choose, and you should see something like this on your computer. If you've done it correctly, it'll say U : or a / portfolio. Okay, and that's all you should see in this local site folder right here. If you see anything extra, like your username with some numbers on it and stuff like that, you know you haven't done this correctly. One of the tips that I can give you right now is that anytime you do anything in Dreamweaver with our network, it's super important that you go to My Computer and then select your U drive, and that goes for navigating to images, creating links, etc. So you always want to have this set up so it says U Portfolio. And then the next part of our process is we're going to click on local info, and you're going to notice that this doesn't look right for me, but it's because I changed it for you. Click on local info, and up here in the top where it says default images folder, browse for folder icon again, and then inside your portfolio folder, double click your last name, first name there. Oops, wanted to keep going, sorry, come back, and then get to your images folder. So double click all the way into your images folder, so that here you should see, and on mine I'm going to take this back a little bit, you should see U : portfolio, your last name, first name, portfolio, and then the images folder. Okay. After you define your images folder for the default images folder, and again I changed this back to reflect where my folder is on my desktop, please make sure that it says U drive on there for you. It should say U : and then portfolio, your last name, and all that good stuff. Okay, next we're going to go ahead and define the remote server. We're going to go ahead and do this now. You will double check this later on down the road to make sure that you've done it correctly at the end. And so you're going to click on servers on the left hand side, and down here on the bottom you should see a little plus symbol, and it says add new server. So click on that, And where it says server name, we're going to go ahead and leave that for now, because down here underneath we're going to change where it says connect using FTP. We're going to change that to local network. Okay, and in the server name we're going to delete that, and you're just going to go ahead and type in remote. It's not really important what you name it. It's just so that when it lists it in our servers up here, it'll show that up for you. Okay. Now, in order to get this correct, we're going to have to go back to our instructions. So I'm going to toggle back over to Firefox. And if you don't know how to toggle over to another program in Windows, it should be Control Tab. On a Mac, it's Command Tab. So I'm scrolling down here, and down here you should see some file paths. And these will be updated to reflect the current seniors, juniors, and all that kind of stuff shortly. So if you're a senior, you are in the class of 2016, and we need this whole section right here. If you're a junior, you're a class of 2017, and you need that whole section there. These are organized by classes, so it's important that you pick the right file path, and this is what's going to give you access or the ability to put your site over to the remote server. So I'm going to highlight the files shared and hit Control C or right click copy, and then I'm going to toggle back over to Dreamweaver using the Control Tab key, and then in the server folder box I'm just going to hit Control V to paste. Okay, and that's all I need to do there, so I'm just going to go ahead and hit save. Alright, and then I'm going to hit, oh, I might have ended up with some extra stuff here. Let's double check. Nope, it looks good. Okay, just go ahead and hit save again. And then hit save one more time. And there we have it. On the left hand side in my files panel, you should see a folder that says portfolio. And when you hit the drop down arrow right there, the little toggle window, you should see your files. Sometimes if the file name is a little long, it gets cut off. So if you want to change that, just click and drag this column over a little bit, and you should be able to see the names of your folders and the names there. If you toggle the arrow underneath images, you'll see banner BG and navbar BG. That's going to be part of the tutorial that we're going to be using. You'll notice up here in the files panel we have the ability to look at drop down menu up here, and when I click on this, what you're going to see is a whole bunch of files on mine, and these are all the different sites that I have set up, and so you can define multiple sites on Dreamweaver, so you can switch back and forth between different projects or different sites that you manage. Right now we are in local view, and we'll talk about what remote server looks like later on, so don't change anything there. That's just local view. Sometimes when you add a new file, say you found an image and you saved it into your U drive, but it doesn't show up in your files panel right away, what you need to do is just click this, what's called the refresh button right there, and it'll just refresh all of your files. So for now, that's all you need to know about the files panel and defining the site. In our next tutorial, we're going to start setting up some basic page properties for your portfolio.